Welcome, everybody. This is Owen Ron with Take 5 for Real Estate Podcast. We've got a great episode today. Hedley Karpas with Martha Turner Sotheby is with us. Hedley, how you doing today?
All good.
Good.
Living the dream today.
Well, let's jump right in. So I've known you since the 90s when you did a lot of work with my partner Eric Kugler, and we both are still good friends with him. And I just was wanting to see, or if you could kind of expound on how you got into real estate and your career up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually spoke to Eric last night and told him we were doing this, and he wished me best. So he said to me as well.
Good luck.
So it's kind of a classic story. Is I graduate. I'm originally from South Africa. Moved here. I'd already graduated school in South Africa, but because of the school terms were a little different, I did 6 months of school here. Finished high school here, then went to UT like everybody else did at that stage, and started going to school. And my parents said, "You need to go get a job. You need to help out here."
Right.
And so I had never really had a job before, and the idea of waiting tables, it wasn't exactly appealing to me. And a very good friend of mine went out and got his real estate license. And we happened to be out one night drinking. And he said to me, "This is what I'm doing." And I went, "Well, can't be that hard. And all I needed to do was sell one, maybe two houses a month. And, I could live a pretty good life as a college student." Yeah. And basically that's what I did. My first job was working for a company by the name of John Sanford Realtors, who specialized in Victorian homes in Hyde Park in Austin, Texas.
Huh. Interesting. So, and then when you graduated, you stayed with them, or what did you do? What did you do after graduating?
Graduated, traveled around a little bit afterwards, and came home. And my dad said, "Go get a job today." And so I said, "Yes, sir." And walked into Town and Country Mall. And the first thing I saw was a jewelry store with a help wanted sign, and figured, okay, you know what? I'm from South Africa. I know about diamonds, or I thought I did, and applied for the job and got it, and worked there for almost a year, I think, and really enjoyed it. But it was retail, and I just came to the realization that I did not want to be part of the retail hours.
Right.
I didn't realize what the 8 hours were on the other side. And so got a job working for Coldwell Banker at Highway 6 and Memorial Drive.
Right.
And that's where I started.
That's interesting.
With Jerry Neugebauer. Do you remember Jerry Neugebauer?
Know the name. Yep.
So that's dating.
Yeah. And then you had your own firm for a while, correct?
After Coldwell Banker, I started my own company with Betty McWilliam and Farrell Lichtenstein. Right. And we did business together for about 3 or 4 years, and then I bought them out, and basically grew it from 5 people to an operation of close to 100 different people.
Wow.
And had a lot of fun doing it, but it was a lot of work. And a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And finally it caught up with me. I got cancer, and thank God everything is fine, and was treated and caught very early. But it came to because of my son, who was 12 years old, who asked a question, and that question was, "Dad, why do you do what you do?" And based on the answer to that question, I am where I am today. And I owe my son all of that. And it probably saved my life. And I've never looked back. Yeah. I went and actually went to speak to my friend Eric and said, "What do you think I should do?" And he, "You're friends with Martha. Why don't you go speak to Martha?" And so I went to go speak to Martha, and 2 weeks later, I had sold my business to her and closed down 21,000 square feet of office space.
Wow.
And merged with her. And that was in 2012. And I would say probably 95% of the agents that came over with me to Martha Turner are still here today.
Well, that says something. Good for you.
It was a good match. It
was
a good match. And it was the best thing I could have ever done.
Yes. And so, I think I'll just throw my hat in there too. We had similar paths. The RMC Vanguard closed down in 2013, and I bounced around a couple places after that, managing people. And then I finally just said, man, managing is too hard. I like sales. Why don't I just be in sales? And I should have done this years ago. But I think similar to you, I think you just kind of offloaded that headache part of your world and kept the fun stuff. So kudos to you. So what is the last year look like for you? Last 2 years?
I like it more and more every year. It's like I'm the dinosaur in the industry. Whereas I used to look up to all these people and think how long they've been in the business and how successful and how great they are. It's just like I've been at this rodeo for a long time, and I'm at a stage in my life where I truly, truly am blessed. I have wonderful clients, and I enjoy working with the people that I work with. And in a way, I'm lucky enough to be able to afford to be able to pick and choose. And fortunately, I don't have to do too much choosing because I just enjoy doing what I do.
Right. Awesome. So how did COVID affect you and your business last year, and how did you adapt to the required changes in the realty world?
Well, it forced me to think outside of the box with regards to how do you market yourself, how do you stay in contact with people, and not let them forget about you or what you do.
Right.
And it also changed my wardrobe. It became a lot more casual. So it has not been all that bad. And, this year was the best year of my career.
Yeah. It sure turned into the brakes went on fast in March of last year. And then the accelerator hit in April and May, and it just seemed like a feeding frenzy. Is that still the pace that you think we're on, or have we slowed down, or have we sped up?
I think we slowed down a little bit towards the end of the year, which is typical. But then, beginning of this year, especially as of maybe a week, 10 days ago, I could start to see the water in the pot starting to simmer and reach the boiling point. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to have a better year this year even. I can sense it, feel it, and it's harder to find listings. We don't have the inventory like we used to, so there's more of a demand. And I think it's going to be a great year all around.
Yeah. Yeah. New Year always starts out with a kind of a New Year's resolution. People want to say, well, okay, this is the year we're going to buy a home. And so January is always a lot of pre-quals and a lot of people expressing interest. And this year is doubled what I've had in any year previous. So it's knock on wood, we'll hopefully have a steady pace the whole year. But well, then so you've been in Houston real estate for several years. How has technology, how has Houston changed since you started out with the Coldwell Banker folks there on Memorial?
Well, keep in mind, when I started out, listings came in the form of a book, with a black and white picture, and that was delivered, I believe, on a Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
We marketed our listings through Select 50. I don't know if you remember that, but It was a service. We had to produce our flyers in-house and then drop them off in a bin. And then this company came and picked them out and dropped it off to 50 different real estate offices. And that was a big deal. And then you always had a roll of quarters in your car because you had to stop at the payphone and call for directions, or because you didn't have Google Maps, or you had to call and schedule another appointment. Yeah. So technology has changed a whole lot. Today, I think what I do see as a major change in residential real estate is two things. If you interviewed me maybe 5-6 years ago to come list your house, I would have told you at the listing appointment that a broker's open house was vital and that a public open house was a waste of time. Today, I will reverse that and tell you a broker's open house is a total waste of time, and a public open house is absolutely vital.
Right.
People today go online, couples, partners, husband, wives, whomever, go online, they do their own research because that information is readily available. They then put their list together, and on their time, they go to the open houses. I wish every Monday I got calls like this, but typically I will get a call or two on a Monday and say, Hedley, we went to this open house and my wife and I liked it, and will you go see it today because we think we want to write an offer? And I had no clue that they were even looking for a house. So no more rolls of quarters in my car rolled up, and no more sitting there waiting for people to say, I want to go look. They've already looked and telling you what they want to buy.
Yeah. So the realtor role of finding the homes is no longer necessary, and it's more of a function of navigating the process to close, I guess.
I guess, in a way, that's actually a good point, Owen. One thing that's happened is the navigation process of getting the transaction closed and funded has become extremely complex. And that's really where the talent of the realtor comes in. Any person can sit in front of a computer screen and sit and say, oh, that looks pretty, and that has 3 cars, and yeah, that's what they told me they want. So I'll show them that house. That's the part that is it's changed.
Right.
It's totally changed.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I remember when we used to do applications on those I can't remember, the carbon copies. We'd handwrite them, and the second this copy would go in that file, and this copy would go in that file. So we're dating ourselves, but it certainly has come a long way, and our roles have certainly changed. More getting the people to the finish line than getting to the starting line. They're already at the starting line. So
exactly.
Well, so let me ask you, what about the future? What do you think things will what will change in the next 5 years, do you think?
Oh, in the next 5 years? I think technology will continue to increase. I think the way that we do business will continue to evolve. I wish I could predict it exactly, because then I'd be a very wealthy man.
Right.
But I do think that we are headed more into video is going to become more predominant. I think, working through COVID and selling houses through FaceTime, that's shown us that people are willing to actually buy a house. I had a $3.7 million sale on a house they never stepped foot in.
Wow.
It was all done by FaceTime. So I see that as becoming a major tool in our industry. And I see that as being developed into a major marketing tool for how we list and market houses. That'll be one change we see very quickly.
Right. Interesting. So what is one, I always like to ask people of a memorable transaction or something that stands out, a transaction you've had in the past that is story worthy.
That's story worthy. Well, I'm writing a book.
Oh, excellent.
I will tell you one transaction that we did have, and it was I think the house was selling for something like $175,000. It was a house in Westbury. And, it was one of those transactions where the seller and the buyer just never got along, and it was contentious all the way through. And outside the front door of this house was a boulder, a big old rock. And I mean a boulder. And we finally made it through closing, repairs and all that kind of stuff. And we got there, we closed. And I go to the office and I get a call from the buyer, and the buyer is irate. His boulder is gone. And that boulder he wants returned. And ended up actually going over to that seller's new house and collecting the boulder and delivering the boulder to this buyer. and then he was a happy buyer. It may, so delivering rocks, I can do that as well.
Why not?
But that was one story for the books.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I've enjoyed our time together, Hedley. Good talking with you as always. I wish you the best next year, and let's keep in touch.
Sounds good. I'll speak to you soon, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot more transactions this year.
That sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Owen.